So let's look at an example of a confidence interval. Say you're working in the marketing department of an entertainment company, and you might be interested in the mean number of songs a consumer downloads a month from iTunes. If so, you could conduct a survey and calculate the sample mean and the sample standard deviation. For example, suppose that for the iTunes, the population mean is unknown, the population standard deviation is 1, and our sample size is 100. So the standard deviation of the sample mean is sigma over the square root of the sample size. So in this case, it's 1 over the square root of 100, which gives us 0.1. So the standard deviation of the sample mean is 0.1. So using the empirical rule, remember we studied that when we looked at normal distribution, we can approximate that 95% of the sample is within 2 standard deviations of the population mean. So for our iTunes example, 2 standard deviations is 2 times 0.1, which we just got in that last slide, to equal 0.2. The sample mean, X bar, is likely within 0.2 units of the population mean. And why can we say that? Because 95% of the population, of the samples will be between 2 standard deviations of the mean. Because X bar is within 0.2 units of the population mean, which is unknown, then the population mean is likely to be within 0.2 units of the sample mean and 95% of the sample. The population mean is contained in an interval whose lower number is calculated by taking the sample mean and subtracting 2 standard deviations below it, and whose upper mean is calculated by taking the sample mean and adding 2 standard deviations above it. In other words, the population mean is between the sample mean minus 0.2 and the sample mean plus 0.2 and 95% of all the samples. So let's look at what we're just going to do. So remember, we're going to say our sample mean is 2. So from here, the unknown population mean is between sample mean minus 0.2. So 2 minus 0.2 gives me 1.8. And the sample mean plus 2. So 2 plus 0.2 equals 2.2. We're saying that we're 95% confident that the unknown population mean number of songs downloaded from iTunes per month is 1.8 and 2.2. The 95% confidence interval is 1.8 and, is between 1.8 and 2.2. So this can imply 2 different things. That the 95% confidence interval is either the interval of 1.8, 2.2 contains the true population mean, or our sample produced a sample mean that is not within 0.2 units of the true mean. The second possibility happens if only 5% of all the samples, 95 minus 100%. Remember that a confidence interval is created from an unknown population parameter like a population mean. Confidence intervals for some parameters have this form: point estimate minus the margin of error, comma, point estimate plus the margin of error.